One-man show, backpacking, carry job. These are a few of the words I'd use to describe what the hell Luka Doncic has been doing to the NBA so far this season. But it's not just offensively. Defensively, he has shown quite an uptick in effort, which has not gone unnoticed by me, which is actually kind of crazy, and it's a testament to how much he's worked on his body this past season, because with the offensive load he's had so far, to see him put this much effort on the defensive end is nice to see. But right now, Luka Doncic is averaging 34 points per game, 8.7 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 steals, almost a block a game, on 50% shooting from the field, near 30% from 3, and 75% from the free throw line. A lot of career high numbers all across the board for this man right now, and it's honestly some insane levels of work. And right now, with some of the Dallas Mavericks shooters not playing up the standard as of yet and slowly getting to the groove this season, Luka Doncic is been far and wide the largest reason why the Dallas Mavericks are a top 8 offense in the league. Now, I'm not going to slight players like Spencer Dinwiddie and Christian Wood, who's also been very good for them this season, but we all know the entire reason why this team is a top 8 offense, and those guys are literally eating off a lot of what Luka is doing right now, so who knows what their efficiency numbers will look like without him on the floor. But right now, he's also been part of the reason why they're also a top 10 defense in the NBA, leading by example, and the entire team has been following in his footsteps. And while I've never been a fan of the heliocentric type of offense, Luka Doncic has the talent and the potential to have the greatest effect with it since LeBron. Sorry, James. And again, it's also important to note that this is without his three-point jumper falling lately, and he has been a career about 35% three-point shooter. So once those jumpers start falling to at least a 33 to 35% clip, it's gonna get even scarier than it already is. But it's already hard to stop this man on the offensive end, but where he's really puzzling people is on the defensive end. So far, the uptick in defensive versatility for Luka has not gone unnoticed by me. While he isn't, two-way, or you wouldn't describe him as a two-way player, he's been by far one of the biggest positives for the Dallas Mavericks so far this season. And right now, with the average of 2 steals and a block a game, while steals and blocks are not the end-all be-all and probably one of the worst ways to judge a player's defense, it's also great to watch Luka and seeing how great off-ball he's been so far this season. Whether it's playing the passing lanes or coming over from the weak side to strip the ball from guys that are driving, Luka Doncic has been very active on the defensive end, which has made him a great plus for this Dallas Mavericks team. It's also good to note that guys like Kevin Durant has already told you about Luka Doncic and how strong he is and how much he feels like a wall one-on-one on the defensive end. And he's been great out walling up a lot of threes this season and showing that, even though his feet aren't as quick, he can use his body to bump them off their line of drive and use that as a way to still stay well in the possession. But so far, defensively this season, Luka Doncic has been a damn revelation for this team. Whether it's being one of the league leaders in deflections, being 4th in steals, while again, those metrics aren't the best way to judge defense when you watch the game. He's also been very good on ball. He's been holding his guys to about league average whenever he's contesting shots. And again, it's earlier in the season and those stats get better as time goes on. But he's also one of the league leaders in defensive win shares. But now that we talked about the defensive side of the ball, let's go over to the offensive side. And so far this season, Luka Doncic has been, I don't know how you describe what the hell he's doing this season. At an average of 34 points per game, Luka Doncic, in his variety of ways of scoring, has completely turned the NBA upside down. Whether it's the step back 3, the catch and shoot 3, the euro within the lane, floaters, fadeaways over the left shoulder or right shoulder, drop steps, left pivot, right pivot. I don't know what he hasn't done this season offensively. It's honestly insane, and he keeps the defense guessing. The only other player that I think is more improvisation on the offensive end this season has been like Shea. And right now, Luka Doncic is just doing it to a whole nother level. And while being one of the league leaders in win shares and offensive win shares, Luka Doncic has been just tearing up the league in every single way possible on the most efficient way possible. The man right now, about 87% of his drives to the rim are leading to points, whether the team's able to stop him, wall him off, and he shoots out a pass as the defense help to any of the shooters that has not been hitting us consistently outside of Christian Wood and Spencer Dinwiddie, or being able to get to the rim and get a shot off with a floater or a layup, a euro, or whatever form he decides is best to make the defense look stupid. Luka Doncic has been probably the most productive driver to the rim this entire season. While being one of the most productive isolation scorers the league has right now, Luka Doncic is also the #1 pick and roll ball handler in the entire NBA this season, all while shooting 75% at the rim. I don't know what else you want. This is absolutely freaking nuts what the man is doing right now. There's literally no form of offense that he's able to produce that has literally been inefficient outside of his 3-ball this season. It's absolutely insane. But this is where I talk about why it worries me slightly. Before we get to that, let's talk about today's sponsors being Underdog Fantasy. So far, Luka Doncic has been a revelation for me on here. Every single time, I just pick his points, rebounds, and assists, and I cash out. It's pretty easy. But as of right now, Underdog Fantasy is one of the best places to play fantasy sports. Right now, they have their pick'em going on. It's just like any other app where you go in and you find a specific player and you choose between their points, rebounds, or assists, or any other specific stats, or that combined, and you choose either higher and lower, whether you think that player can go higher than that average that night or lower than that average. And right now you can come out with 20 times your money, and they just introduced insurance where you can now, even if you get 1 or 2 wrong, you still make out with something here. But if you're right all 5 times, you win 20 times your money, and you can see just how smart you are, just how much you can predict the league, really. You can go into your friends, but right now they have my discount code FLB. You can use that for $100 matched up to your first deposit. And this is thank you to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring the video. You can use the code in the description and it's the pinned comment. So FLB. That being said, thank you to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring this video. See, one of the reasons why I hate the heliocentric offense is because no matter how hard you try, unless you're freaking LeBron, a lot of players' body can't handle playing that for an entire season. Having that much offensive responsibility leads to fatigue or injury later down the line. It's happened with James Harden. It's shown multiple times that James Harden is one of the best Game 1 scorers in the playoffs. But as the series continues to go on, his numbers get less and less because it takes a lot to keep up that form of offense. And 2, while the others like Spencer Dinwiddie and Christian Wood have been productive so far, I just don't know how much more productive they can be if Luka Doncic gets off ball a little bit more and lets those guys take a little bit more responsibility. I do think their efficiency numbers falls off a cliff if that does happen, and Luka Doncic does need to stay on ball for this team to be as productive as possible. And with all that being said, with the amount of effort he's also putting in on defensive end so far this season, it is very, very worrying just how much this team relies on him. And while Luka Doncic, it's a lot of props to him for how much he's taken care of his body and how much more in shape he's gotten throughout his career, but he's not a super athlete relative to the rest of his competition. And I can't expect him to be able to keep up this level of offense going into the postseason. Now, while his offensive versatility is far bigger than what James Harden had when he was playing this type of offense, so he is nowhere near as predictable as a lot of players that has been in the heliocentric offense before, it is still very, very concerning as to how high his usage is right now this season. But as of right now, I'm enjoying it. It's absolutely probably the best show in basketball right now. It's literally insane what he's doing to some of these guys, some of the greatest players in the world. And I can't wait to see just how much better he's getting as the season goes on. I truly hope that he doesn't burn out when the playoffs do come around and we get to see this for a full postseason. But with that being said, let me know what you guys think of this season. Do you think Luka Doncic can win MVP this season? I mean, he's the 6th best record in the Western Conference right now, but also Western Conference is extremely tight. I think that the 6th best record is still like only a game or a game and a half outside of the first seed. So he could actually be a top 3 seed in that conference, and if he's able to do that with these numbers, I think we see Luka Doncic take home his first MVP this season. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Do you think Luka can win MVP this season? What do you think of what he's been able to do so far, not only offensively but defensively? With that being said, this is FLB. That's my time, and I'm out.